I could drown. With all these bodies pushing down, I get the feeling I could drown. With all these bodies pushing down.
What's up, gear mortals? Trey Xavier here. November is metal month, and that means that we're teaming up with Toontrack to bring you awesome content throughout the whole month on our channel. You might remember last year I did a video with Matt Hafey from Trivium where I wrote a song and then we watched him go through his whole writing process for writing lyrics and vocal melodies and then recording them. That turned out so good that I of course had to do it again. This year we're doing it, but with Dan from Tesseract. Here's a little snippet of the song that I wrote, and then you're gonna get to watch Dan go through his whole writing process, how he records and layers vocals, and all kinds of cool stuff. Check it out. That's just a little taste of what the song sounds like. Now let's see what Dan does with it.
Hey everyone, this is Dan from Tesseract, and today I'm here with Gear Gods. I'm going to be showing you a bit about how I write, record and engineer my own vocals today. I've been given a track to write a few lines to showcase what I do, so here we go. The mic that I lean to in the studio is the KMS, the Neumann KMS 105, which is a live condenser, and then going into a Neve 1073 vocal preamp into my Apollo Duo interface, and I work with Logic Pro. And today what I thought I would do is maybe pick out one or two sections of this song and show you the way that I actually engineer my vocals. My tip is always listen to the snare and then try and bite off of the snare with whatever melody or phonetic you can. Let's try and put the riff to one side for a second and listen to the snare. So that's going to give me a springboard. If I can create a line that then starts on that snare, maybe a note after, or even finish on that snare. It's often a good way of getting a starting point at least. So we're going into the chorus now, and that lead line is creating a really nice harmony, and that's giving me some inspiration. Okay, so I think I have something in my head. Tell you what I'll do now is I'll try and track that idea, maybe think of some lyrics and show you the way that I engineer. The melody I have in my head, it's not the full length of the chorus, it's maybe just half. That's a good place to be in terms of looping a section and singing through to it. So I'm just going to loop the first half of the track here. So you see what I've done there in a second. I've got a little bit of space at the start and some space at the end. Just enough so that I can focus very quickly on stacking tracks and just singing through that. Thinking about lyrics for a second. So the melody that I have, normally with melodies, I don't always have lyrics. But at this particular point, I'm getting a few little words popping into my head. Waves and drowning. Like the song has this kind of like quite weird anxiety to it. And so that, I think that's why I'm leaning towards those kind of, that sensation of drowning or feeling pressure and weight. There's got to be some way of kind of like putting those into the line. So, dun, 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 dun. I get the feeling I could drown. I get the feeling I might drown. So the process that I like to use is basically creating a playlist of takes. And what I would do is I would just keep looping the section up until the point at which I get 4 very tight and very consistent takes. Sometimes I will create a melody and I will actively edit that and produce it to a point where I'm beginning to get that sound that I had in my head. And then that can also inspire the harmonies, which can inspire other lines. So it's kind of like painting a picture for me. The line I've got in my head, I'm going to record now, and I'll show you what I do live. I mean, normally I'm stood up with the mic. I'm not normally sat down because I feel like sitting down does inhibit your performance. And I like to move around my studio with freedom, and I jump around and I throw my rock shapes. And that really does help me deliver a realistic performance behind the mic. And that's why also, again, I'm using the live condenser, because it gives me that freedom to express myself physically, and that translates to the character and performance that I'm capturing down the mic. Get my levels right. 1, 2, 1, 2. I get the feeling I could drown with all these bodies pushing down. I get the feeling I could drown with all these bodies pushing down. Okay, that's maybe enough for now, but as you can see, I've racked up 16 takes there. Let's go into the selection process, and then we'll chuck them into the group and just see how they sound. All I need to do here is just expand this, make these waveforms a bit bigger. Because you can see at the end of them, you can see quite clearly the ones that I've clicked are present. So all I can do is go through my playlist and delete the ones that are early on, the ones that don't have clicks, and then that will leave me with 4, hopefully, decent-ish takes. Now, if I was in session, I wouldn't really need to listen back to these. I mean, I can just, if you can see here, what I would be doing is, I would take the top vocal line, and I would be making some cuts and some very slight adjustments, and aligning them up with the top vocal line. Okay, so now I'm going to listen through my monitors in the studio, take my ears out. Could be terrible, could be good. That's not too bad. What I want to do now is just get a bit of a vibe going, I think, at this point. On these individual tracks, I'm starting with a little bit of de-esser. Again, a lot of these are straight from presets, and I'm just making very small adjustments to taste. So I'm using Erk Sound Soothe, then into SSL EQ, and then underneath I've got SSL compression. It's not that heavy, and then I tend to use CLA 3A as a second compressor as well. This will really begin to make sense when I add in a harmony now. Let me try and put in a high harmony, and let's see how that kind of changes the whole feel of it. I get the feeling I could drown with all these bodies pushing down. That's a really high line. I think actually if I was to do this by myself, I would actually be stood up, moving around, because that's quite restrictive, and yeah, that is quite high. I think the last one was probably the best take, and again, I'm just going to unpack those. Okay, so there is the quadded harmony. With all these bodies pushing down, I get the feeling I could drown. With all these bodies pushing down. Cool, so I think I'm feeling a second harmony. In true Daniel Tompkins style. I get the feeling I could drown. I get the feeling I could drown. I get the feeling I could drown. So that the end note on this line that I have is actually just going to be a double of one of the others, but the words before it are actually going to be in harmony. I get the feeling I could drown with all these bodies pushing down. Okay, that's enough. They were really tight, and I suspect that's because I've been singing the line for so long now. So rhythmically, it's beginning to ingrain itself within my mind. The muscle memory is developing. It's just the pitch that you've got to be careful of at this point when you're creating harmonies, obviously. I've got 4 decent takes there. The last one was the tightest. Let's see how that sounds. The levels may be really off at this point, because it's too early in the session. I get the feeling I could drown with all these bodies pushing down. I mean, there's no tuning on this at all. It's got that nice chorus effect to it. It's a chorus after all. And then once I've edited this and I'm happy with the placement of it all, then what I would do is bounce each track down as a new WAV and then throw a tuner on it. I don't want the plugins in that as well, so I'm going to bypass the plugins, place the track, just to give you a quick example of what one of these does look like. There you go. So that's what you'd be working with. And what I might want to do is just get some waves tune on there, highlight the part of the track I'm working on.
I get the feeling I could drown with all these bodies pushing down. I get the feeling I could drown with all these bodies pushing down.
If I did that to every single one, the difference would be pretty mad. And that's it. That's the first half of the chorus. So I'll play into it from the verse. Yeah, as a first half to the chorus, I think it's hooky enough. The harmonies there. I mean, this is bare boned as well. I mean, there's a tiny bit of reverb and delay. I mean, you could really go to town on it and automate all of this stuff. But I think as a first effort, it's not that bad. I would be happy with that hook. If that's all that I had the time to do, I would be happy with that. But I do have a line actually that I think I would like to tag on to the end of this one while it's in my head. It's not that much of a line.
There's never time to breathe with all the weight that strangles me.
And then a line after that, I could feel like it could lift out of the end of that chorus. But I suspect that I won't do that because of the lead lines at the end of the chorus. I'm just going to listen to that end into the chorus.
There's never time to breathe with all the weight that strangles me.
Not quite keen on the ending to that. Now it goes into that riff, the feature riff. I think it sounds a bit too jolly for me. It's not as dark as I would want that.
There's never time to breathe with all the weight that's strangling me.
There you go, 4 really tight, punchy takes. And again, what I'm going to do now is, I know that last take was really nice and tight. So again, unpack, quick edit. I don't even need to go in and edit this. I know just by listening back to that how tight that's going to be. Okay, so let's play this chorus from the start.
I get the feeling I could drown with all these bodies pushing down. There's never time to breathe with all the weight that's strangling me,
etc. And actually, it's an interesting thing to do when you're writing a chorus, to have maybe certain parts of the chorus that are that don't have any harmonies, that are even maybe single tracked. I mean, I can already tell that this is overkill at this point. I mean, I'm gonna have to really get rid of some of the layers and turn some of the volumes down. But as a process to write music, I find that this is the most inspiring for me personally. Okay, let's take a listen to that bridge, because I feel that was the second most interesting part to the song for me as well. In fact, maybe the most actually, but I decided to go with the chorus first, just because I had a hook in my head. Let's have a listen. It's a really vibey part of the track, I like this. It's like it shouldn't belong to this song. It's a little bit separate, but it's a nice break. Feeling some real floaty, intricate vocals. It's got a build. I don't know, the vibe of this song is quite mixed. It's a real mixed bag for me. But I think this kind of bridge really is a reprieve. It's a rest. It's a real kind of take stock moment. So I have this line in my head of where do we go from here, you know, at this point, not only in the track, but also lyrically. That's quite a nice line. So let's have a jam. That'd be PV territory.
Where do we go from here?
average, middle of the road, but let's track it and just see where it leads. Where do we go from here? Where do we go from here? Where do we go from here? Oh, where do we go from here? Yeah, there's potential there. Let me see what it sounds like with a bit of reverb and delay, so I can just chuck it down into that group. Where do we go from here? Where do we go from here? Where do we go from here? Let me try and just give it a bit more power and see what happens. But what I'm going to do is mute that and just pull it to one side, because I don't want to lose that. There's an idea within that little take. Let's try again. Where do we go from here? Where do we go from here? Where do we go from here? Yeah, that picked up a bit better. Obviously went for the big belted note at the end there. I didn't really know what to expect. That was improv vocal. So again, let's just listen to it in the chain and see if it does anything for us. Where do we go from here? Where do we go from here? Moment of truth. I mean, with a big swamped delay tail and lots of nice reverb, that might sound kind of nice. And obviously it needs tuning. But yeah, again, there's potential there. And what you want to try and do generally with a bridge or a verse leading into a chorus is, give it a bit of lift and let it build. So stepping up the notes phrase by phrase is often a nice trick there. What I'm going to do is at this point, I'm vibing that bridge. I'm going to just dip back to the chorus and see how it feels again. Where do we go from here? And see, the line that I created over the bridge is inspired that missing piece of the chorus. It's like, feel all this pressure, and you can also do a bit of a pre-echo to what's to come, so that when you do get to the bridge, that line's already in people's heads. So what I might do is just get a few extra takes of that and just try and improve upon it. Where do we go from here? Where do we go from here? All right, so what I've done is I've gone away, had a break, and I've refreshed myself, and I've retracked that bridge to a point where I feel that I'm kind of happy with it. What I will do now is bounce the whole track down and listen to it over the next few days and focus my attention elsewhere. And that's a really useful thing to do. Take regular breaks from songs, listen to them on an infrequent basis and come back to them. Let's have a little listen over this bridge, and then I will play into the following chorus. I've copy and pasted that chorus, and just to kind of see if it works, see if it gels. Where do we go from here? Where do we go from here? Where do we go from here? I like that. That's a good session, to be honest with you. I'm quite happy with that. I would stop at this point and definitely take a break. Again, don't force creativity. Bounce this track down now, go away, listen to it, and come back with fresh ears. That's pretty much it for today. I think one thing that I would do in the next session when I come back to this is actually think about adding some harmonies to this bridge. I definitely would go for the that kind of choral, really far in the background, kind of rich choir type approach. Play around with some nice effects. Just try and produce the vocals a little bit so that when I do come back, I'm even more inspired to kind of keep painting that picture. So there you go.
I get the feeling I could drown with all these bodies pushing down. There's never time to breathe with all the wind distracting me. Where do we go from?
So there you go. Thank you to Gear Gods for letting me do this today. It's been great to show you guys a little bit about how I go about writing vocals, mixing and engineering my own stuff here as a DIY artist. Do go check out all the Gear Gods stuff and check out all the stuff that I'm involved in. Tesseract, my solo project, White Moth, Black Butterfly and Zeta. And don't forget that I'm a vocal coach. You can catch me on Daniel-Tompkins.com and do catch me on Twitch as well. Thank you so much, Gear Gods. Catch you around.